Hello, I'm Ron Wilson and welcome back to PD Sessions. The RBA lowered the interest rate for the first time this year, opting to bring the rate down 25 basis points to 2.75%. In international news, unemployment has grown in the Eurozone with more than 19 million people out of work. While in Asia, the region finds itself on a risky growth path. In other news, the federal government announced it will increase the Medicare levy rate to fund its National Disability Insurance Scheme. Trevor Trahan has the details.
The Reserve Bank of Australia opted for a 0.25% cut to interest rates at its May board meeting, going against much of the market's expectations. It is the first rate cut this year, bringing the official cash rate to 2.75%. The RBA's governor, Glenn Stevens, said financial conditions internationally continue to be very accommodative, with the risk spreads reduced, funding conditions for most financial institutions improved, and borrowing costs for well-rated corporates and sovereigns exceptionally low. Following a rise of 1.3% in February 2013, Australia's retail turnover suffered a seasonally adjusted fall of 0.4% in March 2013, according to the latest ABS retail trade figures. The largest contributors to the fall were clothing, footwear and personal accessory retailing, down 4.2%, household goods retailing, down 1.5%, other retailing, down 1%, and department stores, down 0.1%. Queensland and the ACT saw the largest falls, with overall retail sales down 0.8%, while Victoria and New South Wales also experienced a decline in retail spending, down 0.6% and 0.2% respectively. The gap between Australia's most successful states and their neighbours is still widening, according to CommSec's State of the States quarterly report for April. The report, which analyses 8 key indicators including economic growth and unemployment, placed the top performers, Western Australia and the Northern Territory, well ahead of the two most underperforming states of Tasmania and South Australia. Turning to international news, the US Department of the Treasury announced the US economy grew at a moderate pace in the first quarter as it broke free of some of the prior shackles. The recent decline in energy prices provided some purchasing power relief to the household sector, while residential investment and building permits grew during the second quarter. Joblessness in the Eurozone rose by 62,000 in March to reach a record 19.2 million, taking the unemployment rate up to a disconcerting 12.1%, according to IHS Global Insight. The main weakness in employment continued to occur in several Eurozone economies in the fourth quarter of 2012, with year-on-year declines in Greece down 6.5%, Spain down 4.5%, Portugal down 4.3%, and the Netherlands, Belgium, Italy and France all down by under a percentage point. After a year of subdued economic performance, growth in Asia is set to pick up this year, driven largely by continued robust domestic demand, according to the IMF's latest regional economic outlook, which predicts growth will reach around 5.75% this year. The outlook found Asia will lead a 3-speed global recovery on robust internal demand. There will be rising financial imbalances, but corporate and banking sector balance sheets will be sound. Policymakers need to be ready to respond decisively to shifting risks. In domestic news, the Gillard government will ramp up the Medicare levy rate to fund Disability Care Australia, the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Billed by the government as the most fundamental social policy reform since the introduction of Medicare, disability care requires a strong funding stream to support 410,000 Australians with a disability, as well as their families and carers. The government will increase the Medicare levy by 0.5 percentage point from 1 July 2014. This will take the Medicare levy from 1.5% of taxable income to 2%. The additional cost for taxpayers will depend on their income for tax purposes. According to government analysis, a person earning $30,000 a year will pay an extra 41 cents a day in Medicare levy. A person earning $70,000 a year will pay an extra 96 cents a day. A person earning $110,000 a year will pay an extra $1.51 a day. The government plans to introduce 2 new measures to address issues regarding the adequacy of Australia's current super system. The government will bring forward the start date for the new higher concessional contributions cap to 1 July 2013 for those aged 60 and over. Individuals aged 50 and over will be able to access the higher cap from 1 July 2014. In regulatory news, ASIC has warned financial services licenses must have robust recruitment processes in place when appointing representatives who have worked for a business ASIC has taken action against. ASIC has taken action against several financial advisors and securities dealers who have moved to new licensees. ASIC's Deputy Chairman, Peter Kell, said where representatives have come from an environment in which there was a culture of poor compliance or poor quality advice, appointing licensees need to take extra care to satisfy themselves that representatives are properly trained and monitored to address early any issues that may arise. ASIC released its 2012 annual report into the supervision of registered liquidators. The regulator completed more than 200 reviews examining issues including practitioner independence, competence and remuneration. Key points included: there was a 10% increase in inadequate declarations relating to disclosure about independence. More than half of all declarations in 2012 were considered inadequate. There were 19 registered liquidators subject to formal investigation or enforcement action at the end of 2012. 69% of reports of alleged misconduct against registered liquidators resulted in educative outcomes for those liquidators.